All right, let's get to my next guest of the evening. They are a country slash red dirt band out of McKinney, Texas. Joining me at this time is Kendall Hunt and the Shooters. How's it going, fellas?
Good. How's it going?
Good, good. Thank you all for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. You just got me today. My name's Kendall Hunt. The other shooters are, you know, they're busy, I guess.
At work, I suppose. It's all good. Shout out to the Shooters. Get that money, fellas. So we'll Yeah, yeah, yeah. Duty calls. I get it. Sure you
That's right.
understand.
Yeah.
So I'm joining with Kendall on behalf of the band. Great chatting with you. Uh, talk about how did Kendall Hunt and the Shooters got together? How did y'all ended up becoming a band?
Wow. Yeah, that's a great question. So I think just like the origin story of everybody else, everybody probably starts off in different bands growing up, and somehow you just meet the right group and you get together and you start making beautiful music. For us, we were all in rock bands, and I think if you listen to some of our music, it's definitely rock inspired. But we all started off playing hard rock and moved all over the Texas, and our drummer, man, all the way from he lived in New York, he lived in around the Austin area, and I was looking for a band one time, and I said I want to do some red dirt country. I've always listened to that type of music. I just never played it, but I wanted to. Going to those country concerts and seeing how the fans interact, it's like, man, I loved it. So I wanted to do it, and I made a Craigslist ad, and you know, I guess back it wasn't so dangerous, maybe I don't know, but I made a Craigslist ad and said, drummer wanted, and Chris, our drummer, responded back and he's like, hey, I used to be a rock drummer, but I love country and I really want to give this a chance. And so I immediately connected with him because, he mentioned rock and it's like, dude, same roots. So we did that and we've had a couple bass players now, but same thing. They played rock and we all came together and we just have kind of a passion for that country style music and we kind of morph it into our own.
I will say I feel relieved that I don't have a Craig that someone else have a Craigslist story and it turned out well. That there's a perception of Craigslist for obvious
Oh, I know.
reasons.
I know.
Um, my story is a bit different. You see, I was looking for an apartment and I guess I convinced myself to go to Craigslist and see what was out there. I found one for $3.95 a month, believe it or not,
That's a
and
steal.
and
Okay.
I ended up living in that place, and I'm still living in there. Of course, the price have changed since then, but you
Oh
got to
yeah.
start somewhere. So Craigslist is not that bad as people say it is. Just
You kind of got to be careful, don't you?
yeah, yeah,
But there's some weird stuff out there on the internet.
yes. Internet, if you're not careful, you're gonna have a catfish moment. And
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yep.
pretty much. So,
Great point.
so that is how Kendall Hunt and the Shooters got together, and formed this band. So, obviously, I like to think of myself as a musical unicorn. Like I literally listen to all types of music, and as far as
Wonderful.
I listen to some country, some folk, Americana. I'm starting to
Hmm.
get a little familiar with red dirt genre.
Yep.
So a lot of people are familiar with country, obviously, but there's some
Hmm.
people that's not familiar with red dirt. So
Yep.
from your perspective, how would you describe Red Dirt as a genre to those that may not be too familiar with that genre?
Okay, so behind the scenes just now, I had to put in a pinch of snuff, some Copenhagen,
Hmm.
and so it's perfect timing of what to ask on the red dirt sound. It it is different. So if you're not from Texas or Oklahoma, we always say Texas country or red dirt. If you're not from this area, you're used to Nashville country, which is uh, very mainstream and pop. It's going to be played in everywhere you go. It's all just pop. It's what you hear on the radio. It might not necessarily mean anything good. The song might not have some feeling to it, but it's going to sell albums. And who knows who wrote it, right? Like, who knows who wrote it? It could be 17 people might write a song for the national artist. Red Dirt, Texas country, it really does have a lot more rock root to it. So one of the most popular Red Dirt bands is Cross Canadian Ragweed, and you got Stoney LaRue in there too. But Cross Canadian Ragweed is kind of how I first got started into listening to this music because I came from the rock roots, and I never liked that Nashville sound. It was just way too country for me. And I grew up in a small country town. Everybody listened to it, but I didn't like it. I'd rather listen to Foo Fighters or Green Day and rock music for me anyway. So I got introduced cross Canadian Ragweed, and it is a rock driven sound with a country singer type, that um, that accent that everybody from the country has. You have this rock type simple sound. Maybe four people in the whole band instead of Nashville where you have 10 or more. You only got four or so people, and it's usually guitars, a bass, and drums and a singer. And so that in itself is changing the sound. So you can only do what these group of guys can do. They usually write all their own music, and it's nothing fancy. It's just rock with a country infusion to it. It's not overproduced. It's just kind of a rock country feel. So to me that's the difference between Red Dirt and like your Nashville music is it's just more real and raw, and it's not overdone. It's just great songwriting.
Yeah, for what I've heard with the latest single from you fellas, Blackout,
Yeah.
which you can get it at your platforms. Go stream it, go buy it, go purchase it. Uh,
Thank you.
so yeah, Red Dirt definitely has the rock feel to it, which I
Mm-hmm.
like. Like I ended up liking a lot of rock music back in the '90s.
Mm-hmm.
So like Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and I ended up being into the new metal music. Like a combination of hip hop and rock. The Limp
I did
Bizkits,
too.
the Korn, Linkin
Oh my
Park,
God.
POD.
Those are my favorite
Yeah,
bands, man.
yeah. I was a Limp Bizkit fanatic. Fred Durst, like just so
Hell, I still
angry.
am, man.
Yeah, mad at the world,
I,
whatnot. Just
yep.
yeah. So that was the rock music I grew up on, obviously. So just right there, is the Texas, Oklahoma areas very very
Yep.
strong. Um, Nashville music is definitely different compared to quote unquote with dirt. But hey,
Yeah.
people have
Yeah.
their different tastes. They have their different preference to it. I listen to whatever makes the beat going, nods my head to it. Maybe do a little
Yes,
two
sir.
step here and now and then. Just depends depends the mood. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that's. But it is red dirt sound it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely growing on me. So I like what I hear from the Red Dirt genre, and I live in Kentucky, by the way. So
Oh yeah.
we kind of mostly known for bluegrass, Americana,
Mm.
and folk. But you know, we got some genres for everybody every now and then. Just gotta look around.
Yeah.
Gotta look. It's
Yeah.
like
And red dirt is really that kind of style too. I think it's really getting more popular around there.
mhm. Absolutely. So, speaking of the aforementioned Blacked Out single,
Hmm.
that's your latest release. It definitely seems, just the title alone seems self-explanatory. But, but in this case, man, just talk about just put together this song, man, and what was it like recording it?
Yeah. So I think an interesting way to look at songwriting is an art, and sometimes it's good for people to come up to their own conclusion. Come up to the way that either a song or a picture makes them feel, and it becomes their art. And I think that's why a lot of musicians write music is to really deliver something that can provide an escape for somebody or can provide comfort. And so I just want to put that out there, but I will explain to you when I wrote it, the way or why I wrote it and the way it made me feel. But I do like people to just, take my art and make it yours. And if it makes you feel a certain way, then the way I explain it, awesome. That's what it's for. But when I wrote this song, it was goodness. I always write, the guitar parts first. I rarely just start coming up with lyrics and find the music to it. I always come up with the guitar parts first, and I came up with that intro to this song, which is it's kind of a hard rock sound, and I loved it. Well, to me, it automatically put me in a place that was like, man, this is kind of a dark, high energy song. And so I immediately thought of drinking. It's like, okay, drinking's not good for you, but we do it, and it it you might have a lot of fun doing it, but at some point, maybe somebody battling with it right now or not, but at some point you might drink too much. You go too far, and that's why the song's called Blacked Out. Is you just drank too much, and I think I wanted to explain that there's a vicious cycle to drinking like that, and you feel like you're on the top of the world, and all of a sudden you're not. But in this character, in this song, doesn't necessarily care to fix it. They just keep doing it,
Yeah.
and so that's what this song's really about is that vicious cycle. But this character doesn't ever get out of it. He doesn't care that it's that bad for him.
Yeah.
But somebody else might listen to it and feel a completely different way. But that when I wrote it, that was the intention is kind of telling that story.
Yeah, the element of storytelling on display on this song, and I'm looking at the album cover here. So the
Yeah.
individual sitting down with a lamp light on, with his head down. Um, yeah, a lot of thought, a lot of emphasis on the song. Obviously, people want to have fun, have a good time. Obviously, but it's a
Hmm.
song like that. So it's a reminder, like you know, enjoy responsibly. Um, you know,
Right.
yeah. Please,
Don't be like the dude on the couch.
yeah,
Is what you're saying. Don't be like
yeah,
the album art. It's just somebody that enjoys blacking out too much is probably not a good thing. But
yeah.
the song is fun.
I like the joint. And I'm not a drinker at all,
Hmm.
so just the song just got my head nodding. That's all I know. So
Nice.
Uh, got my head nodding. Just like if I had a reaction video and I was listening to this, you gonna be seeing me nod my head with my hand on my chin for 3 minutes. You know, no, no stopping whatsoever. And I tend to
Dude,
be,
that's cool.
I
I like that you felt that.
yeah. So yeah, I really felt that. Like I'm ready to get some friends to listen to this joint. And I'm doing the Music Monday radio thing that I just started just
Mhm.
last month, and I'm playing like a variety of music every single week. And I have like a country, folk, Americana show that I do, and I just play songs. And this
Awesome.
song right here is gonna be on the future rotation. Just thought I'd put that
Thank
out
you.
there. So,
I
uh,
appreciate that.
absolutely, man. So we get into the warm weather. It's gonna get a lot more warmer. Feels like in Texas, it's just gonna be steaming hot.
Yep.
Maybe
Yep.
Arizona hot per se. Uh,
Hmm.
so with all that being said, what's next for Kendall Hunt and the Shooters? Upcoming shows and perhaps more music on the horizon. What's next for you fellas?
Yep. You got it. Man, we went to the studio. It feels like a couple months ago, and we got that nice summertime hit that's going to come out. It definitely shows the more Texas countryside, which Red Dirt's more rock. Texas country's just really kind of like a singer songwriter. It's not all about the hard rock. It's about getting people two stepping at the bar. We got that song coming out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So I'll probably hit you back up whenever we release that new song. Um, so just waiting on that to get mastered. Already got cool album art with this one too. We like doing really cool album art with all our releases. And the same characters in it, right? So we're trying to tell a story with all these characters. But that's coming up. So stay tuned for that. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And then the next, we got a couple big shows, but a really fun one. Speaking of the Texas weather, it's hot, and there's a lot of outdoor venues around us for country music. And so we play a lot of outdoor shows, and everybody's playing festivals right now, and it's a hell of a time. So we'll be at 1880 Ice House in Denison, Texas, May 28th. That'll be an outdoor show. Speaking of outdoor, which anybody listening in that area, come on over. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, check them out. Kendall Hunt and the Shooters. Available on Facebook and Instagram. Look up Kendall Hunt and the Shooters. Check out the latest single Blackout. That's available on all of the platforms. They got shows, festivals, new music on the horizon. So stay tuned for all of that. And Kendall, it was great having you on the show. You just have, you're a fellow Ken. So shout out to all the
Hmm.
Kens out there, Kenny, like myself, Kendall, Kendrick, or whatever your name may be. As long as it starts with Ken, you're good with me. Uh,
That's right.
I just
Join the
had to,
club.
I just had to say shout out to the Kens.
Yep.
Absolutely. So great having you on the show tonight, and continued success with you and the fellas. I look forward to the new music coming soon, and appreciate your time. Tell the shooters I say hello, and thanks again for being on tonight.
I sure will. Thank you. You rock. We had a good time, man. So I really appreciate it. And next time I'll get them on the call with us. Okay.
Well said, man. Appreciate that. Um,
Uh,
you have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
you too. Talk to
Uh,
you later.
all right,
Bye.
bye bye.